Hello, this is Mike Livley, and this is part 2 of building a Shuriken in Cinema4D. And last time what we did, we created this image right here that we're going to use to actually build the Shuriken in Cinema4D, and we're actually going to use this texture and put it on the Shuriken we build. But before we do that, I just want to make a few comments. When you have an image like this in Photoshop and you want to move it around, you can actually hit the Control T on your computer, and that allows you to move it around and rotate it. Now, in this particular example, you might think this is the symmetry axis right here. But you have to remember, you're actually going to be building this using an array modifier in a Cinema4D. So that's not really your symmetry axis. We're going to go back to where we were. Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So I'm going to hit a Control Z here and see if I can get back to where I was. And there we were. And that's actually the symmetry axis right there. And you can see what we're going to do. We're going to build a Shuriken using the Array Modifier. And we're actually just going to build one side of it. And then we're going to apply the Array Modifier and create all of these at once. And then pretty much just use a Boolean inside of a kind of a cylinder. So let me show you how that's going to work. One more thing we need to do real quick here is just address two more issues. Sometimes you want to change this image a little bit, give it a little more shininess. And the way you can actually do that is go to Windows and to Adjustments. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually use the Adjustments tool over here, and there's a Curves tool. I'm going to use this Curves tool to give this a little bit more contrast. So let's click the Curves tool. And I can just grab anywhere in this curves tool and just move it around a little bit. And so I'm getting a little bit more contrast. And it's kind of like a adjust one. And I kind of like that. Getting a little bit more metallic look right there. Let's see if we can do a little bit more to it. There we go. Got some nice contrast going on. A little shiny right there on the edge. But I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to actually put that actually on the star itself. So let's go ahead and save this. So I'm going to save this file, but now I want to export it for the web. So we're going to go File, Save for Web and Web Devices right here. So make sure you click on that. And that'll enable you to see how large your image is going to be as well. So click on that. This screen comes up here. You have a number of choices right here you can pull from here actually to bring the quality down. And down here at the bottom, it actually gives you an idea of how long it's going to take to load this particular image. Right here. And always look at pay attention to basically the size of the image itself. This is 3.77K, really small, and 3 seconds with a 56.6 kilobits modem. Once you've got all that set, you want to go ahead and save this. So let's hit save, and we'll just go ahead and just save it as Shuriken. Hit save, and now we're ready to open up Cinema4D and import this image and move on with the lesson. So go ahead and open up Cinema4D. Okay, and I love this software, I have to be honest with you. And let's go ahead and do a few things. Go ahead and new. What I want to do here is go ahead and just import a plane, and let's bring that image that we just created onto that plane so we can use it to work with. So go ahead and come with your polygons section here, hit a plane. And here's something that's really great about Cinema4D. You can really just grab things and drag them directly from the screen. So I'm going to go to my Shuriken, and let's just drag and drop my Shuriken right on my plane. Hit yes. And there we go. We're ready to rock and roll. So if I rotate it up, I can actually see my Shuriken. There it is. I got it in the plane. I can actually just zoom in a little bit if I want to. And I'm just going to use this to actually model everything with. So it's going to rotate this into place. And I'm going to use my array tool to actually duplicate that cylinder, I believe 8 times. And I'll hit the cylinder tool, bring out a polygon cylinder. There we go. Let me get all this in the screen so you can see it. Here's my attributes panel down here. Let me bring this down just a little bit so you can see it. And of course the cylinder is way too high, and so let's make it 8 millimeters. And at this point what I want to do is increase the radius. All right, just to the edge of the star, you see? Look at that. Now that's pretty cool. Alright, and then what I want to do is actually want to bring down the actual segment size. Right, you might be getting the idea of what I'm about to do. So that'll enable me in a sense to cut off the tips of the star. Hit X-ray mode so you can see through this right there. There we go. And we actually want to center this so it actually kind of fits on there correctly. Let's go ahead and rotate this, so let's use the rotation tool. Select the cylinder and hit rotate. Yeah, I'm still missing one, am I not? So let's add one more. Sorry about that. Let's add one more. Segment. Hey, now we're looking good. A little bit more rotation. Now it's looking really good. And you can see I'm getting that right where it's supposed to be. Make sure you get that symmetry right on that symmetry axis. Going to move that over just a little bit so it hits that symmetry axis right in the center. You see, you want to get everything centered up very nicely. And that's about as close as I'm going to get, but that's going to cut off the end, so I have to worry about that. But what I do want to do is actually put a few more segments in there. So I'm going to actually make that an editable polygon. And let's go ahead and give it at least one height segment, and hit the C key to make that editable. So what I want to do is make sure I select my polygon, so I can actually just go ahead and hit the selection tool here and just control click all of those. Hit the shift key and just shift around. I can rotate over too and get the other side as well. What I don't want to do, however, is have any of the inner sides selected. I like to look at my models as I build them to make sure I haven't screwed up. It saves me some time sometimes. Okay, so we're good right there. And what I want to do right now is I actually want to use the inner extrude. So I'm going to hit the M key to get your functions up and look for inner extrude. Hit the M key and then hit the W key. And now I'm just going to inner extrude a little bit. There you go. Bring that in. Okay. And I'm going to do that again just to get me some nice polygons in there. So let's do it again. And there I go. I got everything kind of segmented. Let's see if that worked for the other side. And yes, it good. So we're good. So let's start with our cylinders. So now I'm going to bring a cylinder on the stage. Good, another cylinder. This time I'm going to bring the down to about 8 or 10. There we go. This only has to be about 40 in height because I'm just chopping a hole through everything. Let's make it 40 just to make it more easy. And then let's bring the radius down. And what I want to do now is just take that radius and put it right there. And let's bring it a little bit more down. There we go, a little higher. Good. And that's one part of my item. So let's go to rotate, make sure it's going through. Yes, it is. It's going through on both sides. And so what I can do now is I can use the array modifier. Let me show you how this works. If I come along here and just go right here, and there's my array modifier. See, that's the first choice right there is the array modifier. And then I'm just basically just stick my cylinder into the array modifier. And when I did that, it made 8 cylinders for me. I'm going to bring the radius down so they all stick where they're supposed to go. So go ahead and make sure you're clicked on the array. And then from the array, you can actually change the radius of these items and just bring them in where they're supposed to go. Isn't that pretty cool? Let's go ahead and bring this so we can see it. Make sure everything's right on. Let's go in just a little tighter with that. There we go, and actually that's looking pretty cool, pretty cool. I can actually move this around a little bit if I want to, kind of make sure it's centered. Once again, making sure that you clicked on array. If you want to move that around a little bit, you can. Okay, and this is looking really good, and I'm chopping a hole right through my image, so that's pretty nice. Now, you saw I moved the array elements around. I really don't want to do that. I'm going to bring that back, and I'm going to move the image itself around a little bit, because it's not because I want everything to be centered. So let's just move our image over a little bit. And let the image be centered for us. And let's go ahead and get off of that. And now everything is looking really good. Now let me just show you the trick right here. We're actually going to cut holes. I'm going to show you how to cut a hole. You just want to use a Boolean. So come along here and grab a Boolean. Stick the array element into the Boolean. And then whatever you're going to cut it with. And so in this sense, we're going to be cutting the cylinder it made originally by the array. And when you do that, look at that. You got holes in that thing right through it. Isn't that cool? And if I go ahead and just dark the plane out for a moment, you can see there's your holes. And so we're building our throwing star, and we'll continue this with the next lesson. Thanks for listening. This was Mike Livley.